Hi, it's Josh Marshall from TPM Media. It's Wednesday, September 19th, 2007. Here at TPMtv, we've been following the stories of two scandal-ridden United States senators, Senator Larry Craig and Senator Ted Stevens. Now, you remember late last month, news broke that Senator Craig had been busted a couple months before in a bathroom sex sting in the Minneapolis International Airport. Senator Craig's colleagues quickly called for an ethics investigation into Senator Craig, and behind the scenes quickly engineered his resignation. He's now desperately trying to hang on to his Senate seat, but basically they flushed him down the toilet and he's gone. Now, the case of Senator Stevens is much more complex. It's a series of interwoven pay-for-play, corruption investigations, bribery, a home renovation. Senator Stevens' son was actually the president of the state Senate in Alaska, and he acted as what's technically called the senator's bagman in Alaska, getting a lot of money that Senator Stevens was sending back to the state. Now, where things really got squirrely for Senator Stevens was in this home renovation that was done a few years back, and it turned out that rather than paying for the home renovation himself, it seems that executives of an oil services company called Veco had done a lot of it for him. Now, that's generally called bribery, when oil executives pay to have your house renovated. And a little while ago, the house that was renovated was actually raided by the FBI, and it turned out that Stevens was now the subject of a major federal criminal investigation. Now, fast forward to this week. This week, another Alaska state legislator is on trial for bribery, and not surprisingly, the guy who he's accused of taking bribes from is Bill Allen, the Veco executive who also renovated Senator Stevens' house. Now, Senator Stevens is not on trial himself in this case, but during Allen's testimony, he testified under oath that, in fact, he had provided free labor, free services in the renovation of Stevens' home.
One of the allegations is that you helped Senator Ted Stevens with remodeling his house in Girdwood. Isn't that true?
Yes.
Okay.
You know, I don't think there was a lot of material. There was some labor.
So there wasn't a lot of material, but you paid some labor bills that went into remodeling Senator Stevens' house?
Yes.
Okay.
So that means that Bill Allen, this oil services executive who has pled guilty to bribing multiple public officials and is being used by the federal government as its chief witness in the prosecutions, bribery prosecutions of multiple public officials, has now said under oath that he also bribed Senator Stevens, the senior senator from Alaska. Now, with how quickly Senator Craig went down the tubes, you might expect this to be pretty bad news for Senator Stevens, but apparently not. When asked for comment on these new bribery allegations against him, he said no comment, and from his colleagues in the Senate, apparently no one has said anything or taken any notice of this at all, and certainly no calls for any Senate ethics investigations. Now, we're going to take a quick break and some more hot news when we return.
Yesterday, I met with President Bush and informed him of my decision to conclude my government service as Attorney General of the United States.
When we actually looked into Rudy's positions on Iraq, we found something that really surprised us. Mitt Romney has been rewriting his own history. And needless to say, we are going to keep looking into this case, and when we find out more information, we will bring it to you. I'm Josh Marshall from TPM Media, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Yesterday, we ran our interview with University of Michigan professor and famed blogger Juan Cole, talking about the situation in Iraq. A lot of you really liked that interview. We got a lot of very positive feedback. We'd like to hear more about what you thought about that interview, because we're going to be doing more expert interviews like that on TPMtv. We've got another coming up in probably the week after next by an expert on Afghanistan, finding out what's happening in Afghanistan, what's happening between Afghanistan and Iran, stuff like that. We'd like to ask you, are there other experts in various fields, Middle East, politics, whatever, who you'd like to see us interview? If you have an idea, send your suggestion to the email address below, and we'll do what we can to put that interview together. I'm Josh Marshall from TPM Media, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.